Joe Lacob did what? I'm going to tell you what Joe Lacob did in just a moment. Plus, it's not all bad things that Joe Lacob does, potentially. If the Warriors have a master plan that I'm going to reveal on the back half of today's show. Before we get into all of these Warriors rumors, I'm going to ask you guys first, on a good note, on a lighter note, what's your favorite Warriors memory in your lifetime? It can involve lifting a Larry O'Brien trophy and winning an NBA title, or it could be something maybe from the We Believe Warriors or the Run TMC era. I'm trying to hear what you guys have as your favorite Warriors memory of your lifetime. Because Joe Lacob doesn't have many fond memories in my Warriors lifetime. He has done irreparable damage to a championship-level franchise. Irreparable damage to the last good years of a top 10 basketball player that has ever walked this earth. And what do I mean by this? Well, we know what I mean by this. His affinity for Jonathan Kuminga has doomed the Golden State Warriors, and they are in this rough position right now of, will he accept the qualifying offer and doom the franchise for the next few years? Will the Warriors not get assets back for him? Joe Lacob has put the Golden State Warriors in a position that they can't really recover from, at least in this iteration of the Dubs, with Steph, Jimmy, and Draymond leading the way. Because Joe Lacob has held Jonathan Kuminga out of various trades. And we've heard about new ones that we'll talk about on today's show. But I know that he's held Jonathan Kuminga out of a Paul George trade last offseason. Now, to be fair, that could have been the right move. Paul George got hurt and really hasn't been the same basketball player since getting that big deal from the Philadelphia 76ers. So, hey, maybe we clap it up for Joe Lacob on that one. The claps end when we talk about Lauri Markkanen and him holding Jonathan Kuminga out of trade talks with him. So, imagine Steph Curry running around with Lauri Markkanen, a 7-foot demigod guy who could shoot 35-foot jumpers. Okay, we don't have to talk about that much. We've done it at length on the channel. Pascal Siakam, rumored to have held Jonathan Kuminga out of trade talks for him, but there was also rumors about Siakam not being willing to sign a long-term extension with the Warriors. I think there was also rumors about him not being willing to do that with the Pacers originally as well. So if we can be trivial about Pascal Siakam, there's a good chance that Joe Lacob wouldn't have dealt him for Siakam, even if he would have signed long-term with Golden State. And now we hear this from Charania and Anthony Slater in their original Kuminga report, talking about the new offers given out by Mike Dunleavy. Lacob has remained a staunch Kuminga supporter and vocal believer in his long-term future. He voiced an unwillingness to include Kuminga in a proposed trade from Chicago for Alex Caruso a couple of seasons back, according to sources. Okay. By the way, I'm assuming that Chicago approached both Golden State and Oklahoma City with trades for Alex Caruso. And Oklahoma City was the smart enough one to say, yeah, you can have Josh Giddey for Alex Caruso. We'll go and win an NBA championship by making this move. The Warriors are idiots, to be quite honest. What have they been trying to get Jonathan Kuminga to do for the past year or so? They've been trying to get him to play a complementary role, a role player, a souped-up role player, we can call it, an Aaron Gordon, a Sean Marion, to the highest degree, and he's just been unwilling to meet those standards. He's just been more interested in going to business for himself, seeing what he can do individually in the basketball court, and that's come at the expense of the success of the Golden State Warriors. And now that brings us to this. The Warriors are unwilling, or were unwilling, to trade Jonathan Kuminga, who they want to be a high-end role player, for the highest-end role player in the NBA in Alex Caruso. It makes no sense. Utterly ridiculous. I don't have to show you Caruso stats, and really they don't even tell the whole story to how effective he is in the basketball court. It is malpractice by Joe Lacob to not be willing to trade Jonathan Kuminga for Alex Caruso. But the madness doesn't stop there. Listen to this from Shams and Anthony Slater. My speculation is true. He said Lacob has been a central figure in Kuminga's NBA career since the beginning. Bob Myers was team president and Dunleavy assistant GM when they drafted Kuminga in 2021. They gave the collective green light, but Myers and Dunleavy did. But Lacob was a driving force in the selection when others, including a few on the coaching staff, voiced a Franz Wagner preference, according to sources. For a team, you know what? This is a Steph Curry stat. This is a Steph Curry stat. Let's really boil this down here. Because for a franchise this good, it is unimaginable how bad of decision makers there are at the top of the food chain here. Steph Curry should be giving parades, the key to the city of San Francisco. I mean, they should make it Steph Curry Day every single day in the Bay Area for what he's done for this franchise, because without him, I mean, they would be a bottom feeder with the evaluations that they have at the top of their front office. Joe Lacob is the worst at player evaluation, and I don't think that's necessarily news for Golden State fans. What could have been awesome news is if they drafted Franz Wagner, and they probably would have won another title by now. 2022 would not have been the only one they won. Actually, as a matter of fact, Franz Wagner would have been probably a rotation player on that 2022 championship squad. He has shown all-star flashes from the beginning in his time with the Orlando Magic, and he finally got that nod this past season. The sky's the limit for Franz if they had him on this squad, kind of running things from the wing. He's an excellent ball handler and facilitator. We would be looking at a potential second dynasty for Steph and Draymond. So, is what it is. We can't change the past, but we can be in the know that Joe Lacob is one of the worst basketball personnel in all of the sport right now because of what he's done to Steph Curry's legacy. It's crazy that the guy has 4 rings. Is Joe Lacob the worst big market owner in the NBA? Y for yes and for no. And if you type no, there is a requirement. If you type no, you have to tell me who's a worse big market owner in the NBA. I want to hear from Dub Nation. What do you guys got? Do you like Joe Lacob or not? Because he also declined these offers. Look, there's a chance that Joe Lacob could be big brain here, but I think it's more about his affinity for Kuminga than actually trying to make long-term successful moves for the Warriors. But by proxy, could that end up being good long-term for Golden State here? He did decline these 2 offers, and I would say this is more on Dunleavy as well. Royce O'Neal and some second-round draft capital from the Phoenix Suns, and then from the Sacramento Kings, not accepting Malik Monk and a protected first-round pick. So those are the offers out right now. Neither team has increased their offer. We could talk about that another day. But the Suns, this from their point of view, they didn't have the assets that really make a Jonathan Kuminga trade worth it for Golden State at this point, or really at any point, to be honest with you. They have a lot of long-term deals. I don't think Golden State wants Grayson Allen or thinks that he's a needle-moving piece. So the Suns, they're out for the most part. But the Kings, I thought that trade for Malik Monk was a good idea, right? Like, I think Malik Monk's a good player. He took great strides as a facilitator and playmaker last year in Sacramento after they traded De'Aaron Fox. So, like, as another ball handler on this team who can hit the 3 at a high volume and a high clip, like, I'd be all for it. He's a 6th man of the year type of level player, which I can't say about Jonathan Kuminga, who already doesn't play defense. So Malik Monk, you're not going to have the best defender, but Jonathan Kuminga's not either. So who really cares? But the Warriors, they don't really want Malik Monk. And one of the reasons being that they would have had to trade Buddy Hield or Moses Moody in order to do so. With Malik Monk making $19.8 million this upcoming season. Remember, with Kuminga, they have that 50% provision with him being a restricted free agent. If there was a sign and trade, Golden State could only take back 50% of what Kuminga would be making in his first year with the new team. So it would be around $20-something million with the Sacramento Kings. $19.8 million is way more than half of $20 to $25 million. I know the math there. So they would have to include Hield or Moody in that deal, and that was a hang-up. But that's not the only hang-up as to why they wouldn't make a trade for Malik Monk, and that's where the master plan might come into place. We'll talk about that master plan in just a moment, because it might also be a huge gamble that might not pay off for the Golden State Warriors. We'll talk about it in just a sec, but first, get hooked up with some awesome Warriors hats. I was looking through, and with fall, the leaves falling, it's hat season, low-key, and there's some awesome Warriors hats at this link right here, chatsports.com/Warriors hats. You got some cool designs with the throwback Golden State here. The cream with the colored brim is super in these days. I like this khaki one as well. This link right here, chatsports.com/Warriors hats. Don't worry, you don't have to type it out. I put that link in the comment section and description of today's video. Go get yourself a fresh Warriors hat today. I like this one with the mountain views in the back. All right, Malik Monk's contract here. This is the hang-up. It's not just the 19.8 that he's making this season. It's the duration of the contract. In 2026-27, he makes $20.2 million. And then in 2027-2028, Malik Monk has a player option of $21.6 million. And just judging by the landscape of the NBA, you're either getting max money in this league or close to max money, or you're a mid-level guy. And $21.6 million is above the mid-level exception for non-taxpayers. So Malik Monk's definitely going to accept that deal. So if they were to trade for Malik Monk, he would be on the books for that season. Well, I don't think Golden State wants people on their books that season. If you look, that's the season that Steph goes into free agency. Draymond's contract is up. Jimmy's contract is up. And the Warriors' 2027 cap sheet is barren. It just has Moses Moody on there and Buddy Hield with a $10 million player option, who at that point, you never know, probably will accept it around then. So only $23 million at the most is guaranteed on the Golden State Warriors books around that time. And, what have we been hearing throughout this entire Jonathan Kuminga saga? That they won't go 3 years guaranteed. And that's why they offer this new deal of 2 years plus a team option to maybe, juice things up a little bit. But Golden State wants no money on their books for 2027. There's a reason for that. There's a reason Golden State won't go 3 years with Jonathan Kuminga on this new deal. And it has to do with maybe they're a little bit afraid that they won't find a good deal for him, so he'll be stuck on their books for the long term. But there's a couple of players that could also be joining new teams in the near future, and that's two of the best players, maybe the top two players in the NBA. Nikola Jokic and Giannis Antetokounmpo have player options in 2027. Golden State is leaving the door open for a massive splash. One last splash for number 30. The master plan for your Golden State Warriors is to re-sign Steph Curry and bring in, presumably, Giannis Antetokounmpo in 2027 NBA free agency. The Bucks, they're in shambles. It doesn't look like they'll be any closer to contending than the Warriors would be in the next 2 seasons. So why not go join Steph on a little 2-year deal, maybe 2+, given how good Steph could possibly be. The master plan for your Golden State Warriors is to re-sign Steph Curry to a 2-year contract and then bring in Giannis Antetokounmpo or whoever on a massive 2-year deal as well. Pair those two guys up, and you have a championship contender with a lot of room thereafter to just build out the rest of your roster. Now, the gamble on this that the Warriors would be taking is they are kind of putting all their chips in the center of the table on not even this current iteration of the Golden State Warriors. It would be on this next iteration that includes Steph at the top, likely without Draymond, likely without Jimmy Butler, and then inserting Giannis Antetokounmpo or Nikola Jokic. I think it's far more likely that Jokic ends up being the one that stays in Denver. I think they're actually building something really good with the Nuggets' current core. But Giannis has long talked about playing with Steph, and Steph is hinted to talk about playing with Giannis. So it could be a possibility in 2027. The gamble, though, is the Warriors are betting on Steph being an all-NBA level player past the age of 40. Look, there is a future after Steph Curry. That is a guaranteed fact. But you want to preserve and play with number 30 as long as you possibly can. And they're going to do that. And they're going to try to go get Giannis Antetokounmpo to pair up with them in 2027. It's a massive gamble. It might not pay off, but the reality of the situation is this. The front office probably knows that the title chances with this current core for your Golden State Warriors are pretty slim. Just look at the NBA. The Rockets are better. The Thunder are way better. The Mavericks are probably better when they're fully healthy. Timberwolves are probably better when they're fully healthy. Lakers might be better when they're fully healthy. This is a reality situation. Golden State's going to give it their best shot. They're going to hope things fall their way with the injury bug and all that stuff, injury luck during the postseason. They definitely didn't this year. We'll see if it can this upcoming season. But the reality of the situation is they might have a master plan for after this core with Jimmy Butler. 2 last years to see if they can get Steph another ring with a big fish as the number 1 option. Steph, he would be the number 2. Will Steph win another ring in Golden State? Predict it for me down in the comment section. R for ring and R for no ring. I want to hear from you guys down in the comment section. Is 2022 the last one, or is he getting number 5 and putting himself in the top 5 basketball players that have ever lived, undisputed? Let me know down in the comment section, and make sure you are subscribed to the Warriors Today by Chat Sports, youtube.com/WarriorsTV for the latest Warriors rumors and news all off-season long. The season's right around the corner. It's like a month away. We'll see you guys in the next one, and as always, let's go Dubs.